What's up, YouTube land? Get ready to jazzercise as we talk about one of the most controversial Transformers from Wave 1 of Power of the Primes. It's Jazz! We'll talk about that controversy in a bit. You'll see why as I go through. But first off, we take a look at the package. Very nice action photography of Jazz firing his gun. That gun. Got the alt mode right there. Obviously the robot mode, Power of the Primes, Deluxe Class, Classe Deluxe, Classe de Lujo, and Classe Deluxe. Autobot Jazz. It's kind of unfortunate that they have to put Autobot in front of his name because it's hard to get a copyright on a word like Jazz. Since he's a combiner, there's a picture of combine mode with somebody I can't remember, but they're like a female repaint of the slight remold of the Voyager Power of the Prime Starscream, who I don't plan to get Starscream because he's just not really that interesting to me. Like, Starscream doesn't need to be a combiner, in my opinion. I already have a couple deluxes, but this guy, I definitely need a new Jazz. And obviously you've got your obligatory product shots, robot mode, alt mode, 18 steps, prime armor, the 3 prime masters in wave 1, a little bit of a bio. Basically, it's like a couple words about him. It's like, how will the improvisational Autobot special ops agent wield the power of the Prime? Basically, these bios, all of them, for the deluxes at least, just give you a couple words about him and then say, how will he wield the power of the Primes? And blah, blah, blah. Nothing really. The 12 Prime symbols right there. I don't know how well you can see them. Probably not very well. And, oh yeah, Transformers Generations. So, now I'm going to get them open and we'll take a look. So, here's everything. Get these out of the way. Take a look at the card. It's the same piece of artwork. And Alchemist Jazz. He's actually, I don't think Alchemist has been released yet. But defeats enemies by spontaneous matter disruption. Ooh, how spontaneous. So there you go. And this is your Jazz for 2018. And he's not bad. He's definitely not bad. For comparison, he's a lot better than this. This is Fall of Cybertron Jazz. Obviously, he's actually quite a bit longer. This Power of the Primes Jazz. And this one looks more G1 accurate. Well, this one could possibly be a Cybertronian mode. I don't think we've ever seen Jazz in a Cybertronian mode, but I'll talk about briefly why I hate this toy later. But yeah, for car mode, it definitely looks like Jazz. You've got his iconic blue and red striping. I'll take these off. Yeah. And other than that, from just a quick glance, it doesn't look like he has a lot of paint. But then you realize this whole section is translucent plastic painted over. Like this hinge is a slightly different white. It's like this whole piece is painted white. I believe, yeah, I think even this hood is translucent plastic painted white. So there is a lot more paint on it than it looks like, which is a good thing, because you want it to look like you want it to look good. I think the windshield goes out a bit too far, though. I don't think it should go over the hood of the car that much. You've got what looks like an engine of some kind, or I don't know, nitro, maybe? Definitely love the big fat spoiler in the back, and the barely molded in rear view lights, like turn signal and all that. Out on the bottom, you kind of just have his legs there, his arms kind of there, and his head. I like to turn his head, just because otherwise... Hello! It's right there. Hello! I'll turn your head. So for wheels, definitely roll alright. I think some of them this one feels a bit stuck, like it's not moving as freely as these ones. But still rolls. It kind of goes whirr. That's because the arm doesn't get pegged in fully. And obviously we saw for accessories, he's got his gun, which I'm thankful has a paint job at all, but for some reason the silver stops right there and the rest of the handle is just white. And you've got his hand. His prime armor that is also hand. Thankfully, it's not the same mold as Dreadwind, but you do have this ridiculous translucent piece, which I don't know why it's just clear plastic. You can stick a Prime Master in. I don't believe I showed this in Dreadwind, but because I didn't have a Prime Master, I will take what was his name? This one, and just plug him in there, just so you get an idea of what that looks like. We'll see this more in robot mode. It doesn't even hold. Wow. Let me find what his name is. Micronus. Yes. Micronus. Doesn't even fit in there. Okay. Put the panel back on. And I realized I'll be right back. I have to check something. Alright. One thing I didn't notice was the headlights aren't actually translucent blue plastic. They're translucent clear plastic painted blue behind them. Okay. Nothing on the wheels, which is unfortunate. I can always do that myself. The unfortunate thing comes here. Now, the Autobot Jazz is fine, and the number 4 is on the hood as well. This car is based off a 80s Porsche, but the problem is you can barely see it. So the word Energon is right there, and above it is an Autobot symbol. Below the Autobot symbol are cyberglyphs, like the native Cybertronian language. Apparently when translated in English, it spells M-A-G-A. Now, I don't have to explain to you what that means if you pay attention to the world of politics for the past couple years. I'm not going to explain it, just to let you know. Now, when this toy came out, I heard a lot of people complaining about politics and Transformers. Now, here's my opinion. Transformers is a war, right? Autobots and Decepticons fighting. It's a war. war is always going to be political, no matter what you think about it. So you can't say, don't put politics in my Transformers. That's like, you can't take the politics out of war. Most wars get started over politics. But it's just, apparently, Hasbro had no idea that this happened, and when it was realized, the mistake, they put out a statement that said they were unaware, and I believe they fixed it and maybe re-released the toy without it. Now, those re-releases have yet to reach Canada by the time of this review. So all I have is this version of Jazz that I can hopefully easily ignore that. Just giving you my 2 cents. Weapon storage, you got these 3 ports up here. Kind of like the gun to be the best, the best place for the gun is right there, although it does look stupid. As earlier, I put the gun on the other side, but you can put one on there and put the hand right there. You also have a couple, actually a quadruple of Titan Master pegs, which I did not mention in, I believe, either Prime or Unicron or Rodimus's reviews, that they also have Titan Master pegs on them, or in this case, Power Master pegs. You got 4. Hopefully there's enough room. There's not, can I get his foot on? I believe that I can, yes. Yes, I can. So you got 4 ports, and you got whatever these are supposed to do. And I didn't even notice there was like a molded-in gas cap right there. So, yeah. I believe that's everything on the vehicle mode. To transform them into a leg, you basically take... How does this go? I believe it's a good idea to unpeg these. Yep. And then you just... I think this is how it goes. I briefly read the instructions for like a second. Actually, let me look at the instructions. Yeah, okay. Flip up the combiner peg. And how does this work? It's supposed to peg somewhere. It's supposed to go somewhere. Oh, I believe... Does that work? Yeah, okay. So, I think that's how that works. You basically just stick these tabs, and you have a Jazz leg. There you go. That's a Jazz leg. Nice shiny ratcheting. Yeah. Then you can take this guy and put him on any combiner, and you turn them into a Jazz Biner. Yeah. So to turn them into leg mode, or arm mode, excuse me. You take this, and I believe I think it's supposed to be somehow, does it peg right there? But you unpeg the legs. You're basically going into robot mode. Okay, these legs are, oh right, they open that way. fold them out, fold it back in on itself, and do the same thing over here. And you take jazz and you just, I think, no, you don't want that. Where does this, how does this, oh, well, you clamp it on to little hook slots in the forearms, if it ever actually works. I'm doing this now because I'm probably not going to do a video with him like as a full combiner, like at least for a long time. And you have them looking like that. Come on. And take the hand, and we'll go with that side. And you plug in the hand. And I don't know which thumb to use, because why give me two and there's no room to, whatever. There's your jazz arm. Meh. It's a meh for me. So now we will go into robot mode and rotate the waist back, fold down the feet until they click, fold out the arms, fold back down the combiner peg, fold the backpack till it's in that position. You see it's like a double, like a triple hinge thing. You just fold it like that. And then you take this bit of the hood, pop it up, fold it up so it can pass through to there, pass his head through, and fold his arms down and out, I believe. And oh yeah, his right there are two tabs that go into slots in his chest, and I believe this just sits there. Put his arms back down, rotate his head, and you've got yourself a Power of the Primes Jazz in his robot mode. And this is definitely a good looking Jazz robot mode. It's not perfect, definitely. Like the doors, the side of his cars are just back of his arm kibble. And yeah, he's not very wide. He's just kind of, honestly, he kind of looks like a sheet of paper with a hood over it. But not a bad sheet of paper. Coloring wise, not a whole heck of a lot. You got black, white, and silver. You got, although you do have the Autobot signal in, not signal, symbol from the car mode. The 4 is now moved basically to back there, but you do have a little bit of the blue and red striping still on his torso. It's kind of weird. The shoulders are painted black in the front, but you can obviously see they're, I don't know if they're painted black or it's a separate piece of black plastic, but weird. And then he's got his iconic Jazz shin detailing with the knee spikes. I'll transform this guy just because this is probably the last time I'm ever going to do it. Because Jazz is one of those iconic characters that I didn't know I needed, until I basically saw that I needed him. Because he wasn't in anything past, what, G2? Like, he wasn't in, there wasn't a version of Jazz in Beast Wars, there wasn't in RID, there wasn't all the way up to the movies. I'm going to say there's Jazz in the movies, and there's Jazz in Fall/War for Cybertron/Fall of Cybertron. And my problem with this toy is as follows. Let me demonstrate that again for you. Oh, now he stands up, but if you... Well, his arms kind of look a bit orangutan-y. Yeah. Just... That and his gun absolutely sucks. Like, this is too small to even be called puny. Like, I know this guy was a repaint of Sideswipe, or Fall of Cybertron Sideswipe, but that guy had A, a cool paint job, and B, a gigantic minigun. That was awesome, and this guy just has floppy knees. But this guy... Oh, it's hard to find very many toys that are, like, characters that are... No, toys that are repainted from Jazz. Like, the only one I could think of recently was that GDO Wheelie that came from the, I think, 2010 Reveal the Shield Jazz, who is probably a better Jazz, like, just as a Jazz, but I'm not going to go to great lengths to try and find him. This guy, I found him at my local Walmart. Articulation-wise, though, his head is on a ball joint, but it's kind of blocked off. You can get a little bit up and down, a little bit side to side, and the full exorcism swivel. Shoulders are really weird. They don't look very good. You've got the in and out, the single hinge here, but then when you... Yeah! He's kind of got a bit of that Combiner Wars leader Megatron thing, where his shoulders go lower than his headline. His shoulder line, his arms go lower than the shoulder line. Yeah, think. So that's unfortunate. Ball joint in the elbow gives a faux bicep swivel. He does actually have a wrist joint, but due to the nature of the transformation, you're not going to get much more than like barely anything out of it. Like I'll try with the gun, but yeah, okay. And it's just a mushroom bag, so it just comes off. Yeah, that's about all you're gonna get out of his arm, his hand, I should say. Going the other way. Yeah, you can do it. But due to the as I said, due to the kibble panel, it's really hard to move. Nothing at the... No, he does have a waist joint. Okay. He does have a little bit of molded detail in the crotch, some venting, but you kind of have to get his back out of the way for that good old Combiner Wars offset waist joint. Hips on a ball joint, about that much range. Sideways, forwards, full frontal. Knee joint, about 90 degrees, not bad. Unfortunately, his shin just likes to wobble. I guess it's due to the transformation. You know, this opening panel. I like it because it's Aerobot-esque, but it opens a slightly different way. But I always forget which way it opens. And his feet are locked in place. You can push them up, but you're going to get nothing useful out of it. Although, doesn't look bad walking. Now, my biggest QC issue with this figure is we looked at the card, and on the artwork for the box, he had an open mouth. Now, on mine, okay. I take it, like, in the package, to me it looked like he had no mouth. But on closer inspection, he does have a closed mouth. Okay. Never mind then. I didn't talk about the head, but I do really like it. Jazz has a really cool helmet design with the little nubbly cat ears and the blue visor. This guy actually does have light piping. I don't remember if I did a review of him. I think I did, but I don't remember if I mentioned it. But he does have a strip of light piping. And his helmet is nearly the same, but for some reason it's blue. And his light piping is blue. So, blue. And for weapons, we already talked about his basically iconic silver rifle. Iconic, generic, you take your pick. The barrel is just short enough so it actually looks good enough in his hand. Like, I'm glad they took the panel into consideration when making his gun. Get out of there. Get out of his... Thank you. And you still got the 3 ports in his back if you want to just, for some reason, do that. Now we come to the stupid armor. Now, apparently it's supposed to attach. How does it attach? I haven't figured it out. It's like from the... where is the box art? It's supposed to attach... Yeah, okay, like that. Maybe like that. Okay. I believe these little nubbins, which are tabs, tab in like that? Is that right? I don't think that's right. Because they don't fit properly unless his armor is out to there. And now he can't even balance on his toes, which were admittedly not locked in properly. And boy, does this look really stupid. Oh boy, does this look stupid. So, let's completely forget about it. As for Jazz, he's alright. It's alright. He is definitely above average. Alt mode looks really cool, albeit one unfortunate thing. Get this guy out of the way. Get his shitty old gun out of the way. Robot mode definitely looks cool, albeit slightly hampered. Limb modes are negligible. And the transformation is actually kind of fun if you actually know the correct order of operations. Because first time I tried to transform him, I had the rest of this in car mode, and then tried to shove the legs up there, and it was a pain in the ass. So when you're transforming him, make sure to do the legs first. I think I have time. Well, I got you. Let's take a look at the other 2 Prime Masters from Wave 1. It's Vector Prime and Liege Maximo, or better known as Metal Hawk and Skullgrin. So, yeah. You got a nice picture of Metal Hawk right there doing some heroic superhero landing thing. You got Skullgrin there looking all evil. The same Transformers. And on the back, 3 steps and blah 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 blah. And we'll be right back. Boom. And boom. Here they are. Can we unfocus that small? Yeah. First, here's Metal Hawk who's apparently the leader of the Autobot Pretenders, which is really cool. And the only thing significant about him is his original Pretender shell had a very human-like face. But this does resemble his Pretender shell with the red chest and yellow highlights, blue arms and silver thighs. It doesn't have a human face, but it does have basically an unpainted version of his robot mode inside. This is the first proper mainline Metalhawk figure we've gotten since basically his Pretender G1 toy, because the only ones we've gotten recently were a Timelines repaint of Generations Thunderwing to resemble the Pretender shell, and then more recently we got a box. Actually, no, we got a box set recently that was a repaint of Titan's Return Trigger Happy into Metalhawk's inside robot mode. So I stand corrected. But here he is in all his unpainted blue and gray glory. There's some mold-in detail that I assume represents his robot mode, and he has a silver face, which is weird, and I think he has blue eyes, but it's really hard to see. And you fold him up into Vector Prime's Power Master mode with like something that resembles a clock, I suppose, because Vector Prime is the god of time, I think. Time traveler. He's very similar character to the Cybertron Vector Prime. He's just not the same guy, I believe. So we'll put him off to the side, and as I mentioned with my Cronus, this guy turns into a gun, slightly phallic hand cannon, and cannon being the operative word because it's one long giant barrel instead of twin machine gun barrels. But I believe there are actually some molded in differences, like different molding on these two guys. But to finish off, you just peg in, if you can. It's kind of hard, and not a very good connection. You plug in the Prime Master, and you just stay. Not staying for some reason. There we go. Actually, it takes a bit of work to get him in there, but there's the full gun mode. Let's give it to Jazz. Just why not? Because he's right there. Doesn't look very good in his hand. And here we have Skullgrin, who I didn't even know was a Pretender, because the only Skullgrin I've heard of was a repaint of Generations Dark Mount. But here he is. Very nice, demonic-looking Pretender shell. I love the skull head with the forward horns and the void for eye holes. Very, very tiny Decepticon insignia right there. Obviously, he's got like a 4-pack molded in. Very nice bone white skull belt and like white thigh armor. And he's got protruding knee pads. And his weapon, his target master weapon, is basically the worst of the three because it's a claw. I don't know what you're supposed to do with this claw. They each have a random peg underneath, like, for what, I don't know. But, yeah, that looks horrible. I do like the magenta, almost pink for Skullgrin. I think it is pink. So, his Pretender shell is probably my favorite one of these three. And his peg is actually snug in there. And looks inappropriate. Give me a second Just get them all back into their tinder shells. They friction into there. I don't think there's any other real connection. And it's unfortunate that it causes a little bit of a gap for Metal Hawk. And we'll take a look at Liege Maximo, who apparently, from what I gather, tried to kill Jazz in Generation 2. So, this is kind of hilarious in a cruel, twisted way. I'm having a hard time getting him out. Come on, dude. Get out of your home. Get out of your home. Get out of your shell, man. So here is little Liege Maximo. It's a bright pink face. He has slightly different molding to indicate, I believe, Skullgrin's original robot mode. They all have the same ball joint neck and ball joint shoulders and hinges and knees and stuff, and a whole toy line talking about it. I didn't want to talk about it from after the first one. Here's a very demonic looking green, like, it almost looks like a face for Liege Maximo. But just give you a good look of how stupid his claw weapon looks in complete form. There you go. Oh god, I dropped him! Ah, shit. So, that's it for Jazz. And the Prime Masters Wave 1. Now, the only other, there are at least two other deluxes in Wave 1. You've got a pair of Dinobots. You've got Swoop and the Triceratops, whose name escaped, Slug. You got Slug. You got Swoop and you got Slug. Not sure if I'm going to buy them yet. I'm probably not going to buy the Combiner, the Voyager Grimlock, because he doesn't look very good to me in his Dino mode. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you stuck around this long, let me know in the comment section below. As long as you're there, feel free to give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want more random shit. Shit like this. Shit. Until next time, keep it weird.